This video has been sponsored by Beltline Hobbies and by the Canfield and Wooster train shows, Saturday, February 15th and Saturday, March 15th, 2025. Hi everybody, it's Chris at the Cloverdale Transit Authority, and today is a video that obviously is running behind schedule. We filmed this on Christmas night when one of the gifts I got from my wife was the new Santa Fe Super Chief. Well, I say new, 2018 is when it was introduced. The Santa Fe Super Chief set, the Lion Chief set, which is something that I've wanted for a while, and she found it with an amazing discount on Amazon. So this video shows how you set that up and then a bunch of running footage. And so I hope you enjoy it. Let's get started. Okay, so the first thing obviously is the shipping box, which is from Lionel. It wasn't repackaged for Amazon, and inside that is the box for, you know, the train itself, the set itself. And one thing I will say, every time I watch a YouTuber who's opening a brand new Lionel item or MTH or you know, whatever the item happens to be, I really like the sound of the plastic being taken off of the box. There's something sort of soothing about that. And so I wanted to kind of look over the box and enjoy some of the packaging. As somebody who's been a collector of Star Wars action figures since I was a little kid, I was always fascinated with the packaging and the art on the packaging, and realizing that somebody did that for a living. So I kind of really like that on this item. And then also my wife got me an add-on car for this set, which is the dome car, and it's the dome car for this set. And there's another add-on car, which is the baggage car, which I'm hoping shows up around birthday time. And then we'll have the entire set of cars for this particular starter set. And I was very careful about opening the box because, again, I didn't want to damage anything. I didn't want to tear the box open. I wanted to keep it original. You know, again, I'm sure that tons of us that collect this stuff, especially the people who've been buying the new stuff, they have all these boxes sitting around. And I know some people have to get extra storage just for the boxes. But I really wanted to keep the box intact because after I take this off the track, I really pack it back in the box until I have a way of displaying all of this stuff as a collection. But Lionel does a great job at packaging this stuff. It's almost like you open it up, it's on display. And they've got this glassine cover over the 3 passenger cars and the power supply and traction tires and the remote. And so you just automatically know what you're getting into, sort of like a store display. But again, I also wanted to be very careful with the glassine cover on here. So just carefully trying to get it out of there, and I finally ended up saying, well, I'm gonna get my my box cutter and do it the right way and just cut those open so that I can just fold that cover back. So that when I put them back in the box, I can just fold the cover over them. That's to keep them from getting scratched and so forth. So first car, of course, is the observation car. It's got this boat tail on the end, and that is, kind of the lounge on any train of that time period. But a lot of great detail, nice, sturdy parts, well-made parts. Second one is one of the passenger cars. It's just a 3-car set. So it's this passenger car, and again, all the same build. And it has the little rubber door transitions between the cars. And then the third car is, again, another coach car. Now, these are not scale cars. You know, these are not 21-inch passenger cars, what have you. These are scale to the locomotive, and they're built to run on smaller layouts as well. So here's the traction tires. This is if you lose a traction tire or wears out, you can put that on. It gives the locomotive grip to the track. And then here is the remote. which is specific to this locomotive, the 157. And so you can't really use this with anything else. There are 3 AA batteries that go in the back. You got to have a screwdriver to put those in. And an on and off switch, blah, blah, blah. And then here's the power supply, which is kind of like the thing you plug into the side of your laptop, and you plug that into the track. But I won't need to do that because I've already got the track laid out, and it's hooked up to my ZW transformer. So one of the first things I do with anything that I get at a train show or through eBay, and this is no exception, even though it's brand new, is to put a little bit of oil made for model trains with a little needle applier on all of the points where the wheels would rub up against the truck sides, and also where the track pickups are. So anything that needs to be lubricated, I get that done so that it is serviced and ready to go. So I got the other 2 cars oiled up, and then I want to pull out this add-on car for the set. That's the dome car, where people sit up in the passenger dome, the observation dome, if you will. And there's some of the silicone stuff that keeps moisture from building up in them as they sit in a warehouse or on a ship. So we're also going to oil this one up and get that ready to go on the track. Gizmo's fascinated by it. He sat there the whole time and watched us film this and put this train together. So I have a specific way to run these on this Christmas layout. It goes that way so that it travels to the south and comes around engine first by the passenger station on the other side of the wall. So I put these together so as I assemble the train, I can push it behind me, so eventually I have the flat area, the straight area where I can put the locomotive in there and get that lined up. It's a lot easier to do that on a straight area for anything, as most of you know who've been doing this for a while as well. So the other thing I want to do is run some power up there to make sure all the lights come on, and they do, and man, does it look great. I really love this train for a starter set. I mean, I'm used to dealing with stuff that's 70 or 80 years old, and this is just too cool. Really detailed interior, no people in there. Lionel's putting that in some of their higher-end cars, but sometime during the year, I'll take the lids, the roofs off of these and start adding people into these cars. That's a long process to do it right, so I'm not in a rush, but we'll get it done. All right, now it's time to get into the locomotive. The first thing we see once we lift up the top part of the plastic is the instructions. And traditionally, anytime you get into any instructions for a Christmas gift, you kind of glance at it and then you throw it aside and find out that it was actually important to read later on, which is exactly what I did. And so I kind of glanced at it and just see if anything's stuck out at me like, hey, don't do this. But yeah, it was pretty much what I expected it to be. I've actually played with a Christmas starter set out at Beltline Hobbies before, but this is the first time I really got into the details of setting one up. So that's the track in that box. I'm not getting that out because I've already got the layout in there, and I don't need to get out more track, but I will use that at some point, I'm sure. And then now we have the locomotive, and this is really, really a beautiful locomotive. It is a semi-scale version of Electromotive Corporation's FT diesel, and this is like very many other F-Series diesels that Lionel has put out for many, many years. It is heavy and with great paint schemes, and of course this one is the Santa Fe Super Chief, so it is in the Santa Fe Railroad War Bonnet paint, which is the red and the yellow and the silver. So we're just using the box cutter to open up the plastic again, and because again they just have everything packed up really, really well in these, and I appreciate that. So And then the traditional gathering of the ribbons to lift it out of the package, which of course is always lighter than the tension being pressed against the locomotive. So then you have to kind of do the typical gather them in one hand and hold the plastic in the other. I see so many people do this that I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what happened. So anyway, wow, it's really cool. And again, it's very heavy. I really think that's a beautiful locomotive. You know, I've had F-Series Santa Fe's and about every gauge. My very first train was a Santa Fe war bonnet in N gauge when I was 4 or 5 years old. So this is a really cool locomotive, and for a starter set, it's really got a lot of detail. And just like with the passenger cars, it's time to oil this all up. Get a little bit of oil on there, and later on I did grease the motor gears. It's got 2 motors, so there's a lot of pulling power on this thing. Again, for a starter set, this is really very similar to the way starter sets were back in the post-war time period. There really wasn't a lot of skimping. And putting oil on the second motor. And I'm looking, here's the speaker. It's a good sized speaker. I'm kind of looking to see, make sure that everything is in place. And if there are any switches underneath there that I need to be concerned with, like on and off for sound or what have you. So I'm just kind of looking through all that stuff to see if there's anything in there. And I we'll go back to the instructions to see how all that stuff works. But for now, we're getting it on the rails. And, normal process, get it set up, make sure it's on the track properly, get the cars hooked up to it. And here we are. So now back to the instruction booklet, because what I wanted to see was, I know with these starter sets, they've got the wall power that just plugs in there, and there's your power, and then you use your remote. And it also has Bluetooth, by the way, and Lionel has a phone app, which you can use as a throttle and all the bells. It does the same thing that the remote does. So I just wanted to add a little power, and it does come alive. That's great, and it starts making this beeping noise, which means it wants to connect to the remote. You turn the remote on, it connects, and then the sound comes on. And then it was a matter of, okay, how much throttle do I add to this thing? Because I'm really using the throttle on the remote, and I didn't see it in the instructions at first. But what I realized was that once I gave it a little bit of power and started pressing all the buttons, by the way, to make it talk, and to do all the just kind of playing with it while it's sitting there. And so we'll hear more of this as we go along. But my biggest concern was, how much juice do I give this thing to run? And I gave it a little bit, and it started going, but it didn't really want to go. And then I realized, no, you got to just throw that. I'm going to say this again. You got to throw that throttle to the firewall. Get it all the way up there, and that's the power that you need. And now you're controlling the speed with the remote or the Bluetooth app or the phone app for Bluetooth. So once I figured that out, it was like, oh, this is easy stuff, and away it goes. And I was really excited about the fact that you have kind of speed control with this thing, meaning it's not like the post-war stuff where it's like you can't just sort of take off like a train. The prototypical train just kind of slowly glides away. You can kind of do that with this, and it maybe it doesn't have the motor control that a Legacy or a Vision Line train has, but or a locomotive has, but this does a pretty good job. So I was having a great time playing with this thing and coming up with the ways how you do all the sequence with the passenger sounds and so forth. So anyway, let's take a look at this thing and listen to it. And my wife did all the camera work on this one, so she was learning some things and did a pretty good job considering we're crawling around on the floor. But anyway, hey, I'm going to let you watch this thing as we play with it. And If you like this video, click on like and subscribe to the channel and leave us a comment. Tell us what you got for Christmas that was train oriented. And also, don't forget to check out our links below. We have new merchandise. We've got a coffee cup for Cloverdale Transit Authority, and we also have a T-shirt for Cloverdale Transit Authority as well. So enjoy. Thank you so much, and we'll see you.